So my name is Brandon Blackburn-Dwyer. I'm here backstage at the Global Citizen Festival, and I am joined by George Strombo because
say it.
Stroumboulopoulos?
No, you're close.
Stroumboulopoulos?
Yes.
Are you like Snuffleupagus?
Yeah,
Because he was on. Big Bird was on stage.
I have been as absent. Stroumboulopoulos.
Now you're from Canada. You're the voice of hockey in Canada. So what brings you south for almost wintertime here?
This here, man, the Global Citizen Day. This is what this is all about. This is my job as a human being.
Now think about getting to work where this festival is all about the global goals,
Yeah.
and that's about ending extreme poverty. It's about getting people out job opportunities, about ending inequality in the workplace, getting women and men to have equal opportunities, getting people to work. Like how can we get Canadians behind that on a global scale?
It's all the things you mentioned, all the global goals. What's interesting about them is they sit as individual items, but in truth, you don't actually get one until you get them all. Right? It's the ironclad rule of ecology is that everything is connected. So you need, if you want to end poverty, you have to empower women. If you want to create work, you have to make sure that the workforce is open. You have to make sure that people have access to a living wage. All these things work together. So how do you do it is by addressing it in about 5 or 6 different ways. You need a roots organization, which is what you're doing, and getting people to sign up. You need that. That creates the political will, we hope, or the fuel behind it, which can generate some political will. And ultimately, the people who sign up now, the more engaged they are, they'll be the politicians. So when an election happens, we have 100 choices to be proud of as opposed to maybe a half, which is what happens with a lot of people who become cynical around politics. So you want to get people involved early so they can recognize their role in this, and that's why I think it's important to sign up.
I couldn't have said it better myself, but we're looking at Canada. You talk about an election. We're just a couple of weeks away from an election. There's 3 major candidates. All of them seem like they could possibly be the next prime minister.
They're all in the 30s, eh? They're
right?
all in the 30%.
I mean, it's just all in that same thing. So let's talk about right after that election. Let's disregard whichever one wins. What do you say to them to keep Canada being a leader internationally in developing the world?
It's just recognizing that you have a role. What's happened with politics in Canada, it's happened in this country and the States as well, is that everybody's become so narrow and all they do is focus inward. That is the least interesting thing about a country is when they focus inward. Canada was a better country when we were as focused on what was happening outside of our borders as we were inside our borders. And over the last decade or so, we've become a very narrow country in that respect. There's lots of reasons why, I get it. But I think that's the first thing that they need to realize, is that it is your job as a part of the global north, the so-called global north, to do something. There's a lot of benefit. Plus, everybody who has anything, any country in the global north that's successful has generally done so on the backs of somebody else. And if you've done that throughout history, pay it back. Pay it back the right way.
That's a powerful statement.
And, you know, they also talk what they want. They want a strong economy around the world. Okay, so you want a strong economy around the world, help build them. Yeah, help build the economy if you want a strong economy around the world.
Build those economies, and they're going to start buying goods from Canada and start spreading the jobs in Canada, and they're going to spread the jobs everywhere.
And also, you know, in Canada, we have a lot of issues we got to look internally too in terms of First Nations and reservations and poverty and things like that. So you can look at what's happening inside this country of Canada and then look at the work you need to do there and the work you can do elsewhere.
Yeah, and it's about getting all of it done, right? I mean, it's not about picking one or the other. We have the opportunity over the next 15 years. There's money, there's the will, there's now these 17 global goals. We can get it done. So I guess to wrap up, to individual global citizens, we talked about the government we talked about looking inwards and outwards. What would you say to an individual? What can they do to get involved?
Well, you can sign up. That's the start.
Yeah,
also,
sign up to globalcitizen.org,
that's
please.
a huge thing. And then I just say stay interested, because if there's something you want to do, chances are there's an incredibly successful group already doing it who would love you to be a part of it. So if it seems daunting, it really isn't. Sure, the big macro conversation is daunting because it's daunting for everybody, but it's not daunting for you to get involved because there are people who are already doing this and want you to be a part of it. And just find your way into the project that you think resonates with you, and don't worry about making a life choice. It's just for now, because as you learn, something else will become interesting to you, and then you're going to move on, and then you're going to find new stuff. And just make sure you get people who come up behind you to get interested as well.
I appreciate your time. You've made me now want to go watch hockey because I feel like I will be inspired and entertained.
Well, I know. Good luck with that.
Thanks for coming down.
Thanks,
I really
man.
appreciate it.
Good to see you, bud. Thank you.